Hey guys, in this episode I will finish off assembling the engine and create a test stand. Let's get into it. I have installed remaining small brackets, which I have rust treated and painted. Mounted the engine's positive cable. I've bought a sacrificial power steering pump, which will be used during engine testing. I have disassembled it and removed the rotor vanes to minimize the wear inside the pump, since the pump will run dry. Assemble it back. Slightly cleaned engine mount from dirt and oil. Aqua blasting was not available, unfortunately. Installed a blind cap behind the alternator. This is the coolant outlet which feeds the transmission heat exchanger thermostat thingy. I'm gonna eliminate this system and arrange an old-school transmission cooling system using a radiator. This should make the system more reliable, robust and better cooled. Here is the original M62 facelift cooling overview. These hoses will be eliminated, the heat exchanger as well. A plug should be installed behind the alternator, the one I have installed. Then the radiator must be plugged in from below. I will show the required plug later on. A different hose should be installed in between the coolant pump and expansion tank. You will see it later on. And finally, you will need a pre-facelift transmission radiator and a 5 HP24 pre-facelift oil lines, and that's it. Okay, let's get back to the assembly. Time to add the oil filter housing. Its cooling lines are running through the left engine mount bracket. New drain lines. New crush washers. Tried on the new oil lines. New oil filter housing. I had few of them, but all of the plastic elements inside were either missing or damaged, so decided to buy a new one. It comes with a filter. New O-ring and a bit of oil. That's it. Now is the other side. Firstly, I need to remove the dipstick tube. Power steering pump. New belt from 4.6 IS. It is a bit longer than the E38 version, decided to go with this version. Pumped the tensioner several times and made it fast. New radiator hoses. Fan. New coolant temperature sensor. That's it. Time to craft the engine stand. I did some measurements using the exhaust and commenced assembly. Had some strong wood in stock. Used 100 kilo wheels. The whole stand with the engine and the tranny should weigh around 350-400 kilos. Used my lift rubber stands. Reinforced them with wood. Looks good so far. I've decided to clean the flywheel and treat it with the rust converter. Clean the mating surfaces as well. Clean the bolt wells. There is some thread locker debris. New bolts. Use the crankshaft locking pin to torque the bolts. Time to marry the tranny and the engine. For the test, I will use the E38 tranny without the torque converter. New dowel sleeves. Time for the tranny mount. Use stick bolts to fasten the mount to the stand. So far looks good. Since the E53 radiators are bigger than the E38, I've bought the thickest E38 radiator, which is 42 cm thick. It is suitable for 750 and hot Golf versions. The plug which blocks the outlet to the heat exchanger mentioned before. Here's the spare part number. The plug is slightly bulging out. I will make a small recess here. Done. Oil pressure sensor. New expansion tank with hoses. It comes with a sensor but without the plug and the cover. Here is the hose mentioned before, which connects the coolant pump and expansion tank. That's the version you need in case you are getting rid of the transmission heat exchanger. It is from the E39 540i manual. That's done. Now is the air intake. New O-ring. Air sensor is the same as on B44 engines. For now, during testing I will use the original E53 4.6 IS filter box for several reasons. Air opening sizes are different in comparison to E38. And the 4.6 IS box has an additional vacuum-driven air flap, which gives extra air boost. The filter size is the same though. I will modify the E38 airbox later on and integrate the vacuum air flap. I had one M62 E38 box in stock, but the MAF sensor was not a proper fit. After some investigation, turned out that this is the 735 version, which has smaller tunnels than the 740. So bought the correct version later on. That's the fuel tank's purge valve. Need to blind this off as well. Secondary air pump. This pump drives air into the exhaust manifold, thus boosting the exhaust temperature. With this system, catalysts are being operated at proper temperatures during cold starts. 4.6 IS filter box has a different size flange for the hose which runs to the secondary air pump. I will just blind this off for now. Now is the fuel feeding system. New fuel tank, fuel pump. Fuel filter comes with an integrated pressure valve. Vacuum line. Tested the pump. And that's the fuel system done. Use some mole hoses to loop the flanges which are used for the heater core. Done. Starter. Engine positive wire. PCV drain tube came along quite well. Blinded off the vacuum line for the brake system. Compared the original and aftermarket Hengst filters. They look more or less the same. Filter cloth color was slightly different, the original one is slightly brighter. Installed the aftermarket one, which I will dispose after the first oil change. Time for the exhaust. Need to remove the old O2 sensors. From the beginning I've selected the wrong strategy. Let's try another one. This one failed as well, although this should be the correct one. I was luckier with the other side. Tried to extract the broken lambda sensor, but every try had failed. In the end I've drilled out the remainder, but the thread was unfortunately ruined. We'll have to weld in new sensor thread later on. Anyways, I will have to weld in the post-CAD ones as well, which are missing on this pre-facelift exhaust. Okay, let's install both exhaust pipes using new gaskets and hardware. Press in the new bolts. Something like this. Dropped in the facelift E38 M62 engine loom. I've never worked on a M62 before, so the cable routing is new to me. Be careful buying lambda sensors. The pre-CAD ones have male plugs and the post-CAD female. Here I have screwed in the post-CAD lambdas into pre-CAD holes, and now I have two female plugs. Here are two pre-CAD engine loom female plugs, and these are post-CAD engine loom male plugs. Compare the E38 and E53 4.6 IS loom diagrams, and basically they are the same. There are several differences which I have to examine more thoroughly and compare two looms. I have to transfer one electric plug as well, which controls the solenoid for the additional air flap in the filter box. I didn't have enough time to connect the car loom and do the first start. Hopefully this will happen soon. Take care. Cheers.